Imagine it.
You're in a crowded room of comic book fans, and you decide to ask that question. What is the worst Spider-Man story? And until the end of time, you will always get the answer, one more day. Yes, the Spider-Man story nobody likes except the people who made it out of spite. One More Day is the result of Civil War exposing Spider-Man's identity, Aunt May getting shot because of identity being exposed, and Peter sobbing and crying over his soon-to-be-dead 200-year-old aunt. To fix this, the Marvel equivalent of the devil, Mephisto, comes to Peter with a proposition. I will save her if you give me your marriage. Even though the entire universe says that she's going to die, including God himself! Peter says,
everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
but less cool, more whiny, and more stupid. So more like, no, I'm gonna do my own stuff! So Peter and MJ go through with it, and it's been a blight on the character ever since. They've been in a constant will they, won't they, and according to the editorial, since the fucking 2000s, who are still running it, is they won't. So what's the point? By the way, this guy, C.B. Cebulski, the guy with the skin tone of a piece of paper, he pretended to be Japanese so he could write. This is the guy who hates MJ and the marriage, and he's still editor-in-chief. Fucking how?
I mean, James Bond also pretended he was Japanese.
This guy is no James Bond. The guy who pretended to be Japanese is still editor-in-chief. What is reality? Anyways, One More Day has stuck, despite the opposition of writers and fans of Spider-Man everywhere. So One More Day gave us 6 things. The marriage not existing, Harry Osborn being alive, no more organic webbing that was given to him in Spectacular Spider-Man Disassembled to tie into the movies, Peter Parker saying no to the other and not getting some weird powers, like those weird stinger things that are very similar to Wolverine claws, and seeing in the dark. Aunt May's death being prevented, almost everyone forgetting Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and according to Joe Quesada, Mary Jane getting pregnant was also removed, so 7 things. But no one was satisfied, so 3 goddamn years later, we got One Moment in Time, aka Omit. You get it? Which explains how it happens. Mephisto goes back in time to the marriage issue, and a red bird releases just some guy out of police custody. So Peter misses the wedding because of this guy, and they don't get married. They just stay boyfriend and girlfriend until the guy comes back and tries to kill MJ and her aunt. Since things are too dangerous, Peter goes to Doctor Strange and asks him to make the world forget that he was Spider-Man. Everyone's affected, except for Peter and MJ in the last minute. But she wanted to forget that Peter was Spider-Man, because blah 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 editorial bullshit, it doesn't matter. Oh, but here's the best part about this. Peter saves Aunt May's life through the power of love, according to a doctor.
Oh, it's like Padme dying of a broken heart.
Yep. You see, she didn't see a reason to live. You see, until Peter used the power of love. So Peter's CPR, powered by the power of love, of course, is better than these actual medical professionals who work at the hospital. So the question is, why didn't he do that in One More Day? Did Mephisto just make him love a little harder? I thought Peter loved Aunt May so much
That he'd sell a piece of his soul.
a piece of his soul and his fucking marriage to save her fucking life. But no, he didn't love her that much yet. He needed the devil in his soul. Ah!
I mean, with his super strength and her vulnerable body, I'm not sure it would have gone that way.
The power of love.
Man, this whole thing could have been prevented if he just did that in one more day instead of after the retcon in one moment in time. So why didn't he do it? It doesn't make any sense. Like, that's the core problem with these two stories. They're the poster boys for editorial fucking up things. They're stupid, and they suck, and they don't make any sense.
So here's the core retcons that matter. Harry Osborn is alive. Oh, wait, no, he's not. Apparently it was retconned that post One More Day Harry is a clone. But of course there's the pregnancy, and oh, that's right. In Lost Hunt, which is set in the 90s, she's definitely pregnant. And since Aunt May surviving and Peter Parker's secret identity being restored happened naturally thanks to Omit, and I guess the organic webbing was also done away with naturally because in Spider Island he reminisces about it. Maybe he cured himself like he did with the 6 arms because it was beginning to be a pain. So the only things we really have left are the marriage never happening and Peter saying no to the other.
What if I told you that these two retcons don't matter? What if there was a series of comics that would go into what would happen if these events occurred differently? Oh, that's right, there's What If. Yes, What If, my childhood favorite series. Thanks to this, we have those. What if Spider-Man and MJ didn't get married, and what if the other? Oh wait, sorry, what if Peter rejected the other? In the 2000s, they stopped asking the questions and just started using what if and title. So, now I hear what you're saying. You're saying, what if is a series made up of alternate universes, which is true.
And some stories have come over into the main Marvel canon, like what if Jane Foster had found the Hammer of Thor. But that's a different case than these two cases. Marvel's specifically asking, what if Jane Foster was Thor right here in Journey into Mystery number 83 in 1962, not all the way over here in 2014 after Original Sin. And Marvel didn't do the rational thing with Spider-Man and say, we'll just have MJ and Peter sign the divorce papers in 2007 and 8. No, the time-traveling devil made them do it. Or I suppose, not do it. What if, in fact, specifically asked, what if they didn't marry, and what if Peter said no to the other? At this time of day, at this time of the year, in this part of the country localized entirely within Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 21 and Amazing Spider-Man number 527.
Yes. That's it? Yes.
Which One More Day specifically cosmic retcons to be what happens, turning hypothetical into reality. But if the Amazing Spider-Man had not married Mary Jane, then the events of this book would be what happens as a result of One More Day and Omit.
The events of these books don't happen in Omit. See the problem? So what happens in these issues? Well, let's start with the marriage story.
You're fucking insane! And you're fucking winning!
Well, if Spider-Man had blacked out a little longer in a fight with a Spider Slayer, Mary Jane would have gotten hurt, and this would make Peter have a personal crisis and call the marriage off. The two separate, and Peter vents his feelings by joining Silver Sable's Wild Pack. After a long time of moping, Peter tries again with Black Cat, but she's too vicious with criminals. Peter tries to make it work, but Black Cat just isn't interested in a life with Peter Parker. Just Spider-Man. When she goes to rub her engagement in Mary Jane's face, a lowlife overhears and rats out Spider-Man's secret identity to the Vulture. The Vulture enacts his revenge by first blowing up Aunt May's house. May lives, but she has to go to the hospital. Peter finds Vulture and almost kills him before the Wild Pack stops him.
Wow, this almost sounds a lot like Back in Black.
Peter finds out the source of the info leak was in fact Black Cat and divorces her. Peter has a long talk with his now friend Silver Sable about his frustrating life. They connect about their similar adventurous lives that are sprinkled with tragedy until they have to spring into action for another mission. Sable's encouragement leads to Peter trying to talk to MJ, but she's seeing someone else, so he leaves, but is attacked by the Wild Pack because they think he murdered the Vulture. MJ's also there and tries to clear his name. Turns out he didn't. Black Cat arrives and admits she killed the Vulture. Another misunderstanding happens and Black Cat is shot. The death of Black Cat could have led to MJ and Peter comforting each other, but it doesn't, and the two walk their separate ways. And then after years of working with Silver Sable, they slowly become romantically involved and eventually husband and wife.
An actually pretty good two-parter. And if this was how One More Day took effect, I don't think I would mind as much. You take Mary Jane off the board, and we're not stuck in this Sisyphean will they, won't they? You get to use Silver Sable, who has not been a mainstay in Spider-Man stories that much, and you get a new status quo with Spider-Man being a bigger hero than just New York. The only casualties are Black Cat and Vulture, but that's not really a big loss. Plus, no one stays dead in this universe, so you can just say her luck powers revived her or something.
Well, Uncle Ben
For now.
stays dead.
Marvel Zombies and 616 with Uncle Ben as the main patient zero.
I'm dead now.
Like Uncle Ben. The only problem here is that 20 years of Spider-Man canon suddenly becomes non-canon. Which, if we're being generous, One More Day salvages into the new continuity of Spider-Man. But if One More Day is asking the question, what if they didn't marry? What if already answered that question? And hey, maybe I still sound crazy and you need a little more evidence. Because you're thinking right now, this can't be. Marvel would never make a what if issue canon to 616. Except they did, with what if issue number 4, aka what if the invaders stayed together after World War II. And they could have saved a lot of time, money, and heartbreak by just reprinting What If 20 and 21, saying that that's how it happened and call it a day. But hey, what about the other comic? The other comic in question being about the other, and what if Peter rejected the other? Yeah, there's no way that this could happen. Well, to make 616's The Other a long story short...
In this comic cocoon, he talks to an otherworldly being known as the Other, who tells him to choose between the Spider and the Man. Peter chooses Spider and comes out with new powers.
Easy, simple, not necessary, so they got rid of it in One More Day. Now, What If's version... Yeah, there's no possible way that they could have slid this into canon.
After Peter rips off the head of the Other to choose Man over Spider, Peter stays in his cocoon. The Venom symbiote detaches from its host, goes to the cocoon, and merges with Peter over the matter of months, coming out as Poison. He goes back to Avengers Tower to try to get Mary Jane to join him in this new form. But seeing she's not into it, he leaves, digs up Gwen Stacy, and resurrects her into a Carnage-like thing.
Yeah, unless they wanted the Spider-Man comic to turn into an uncomfortable, icky horror comic, then they wouldn't want this to be canon. But this probably wouldn't happen if Peter was married to Silver Sable. The collective Wild Pack could probably take Moreland down, and the Other would never happen. So the only question is, if What If answered the question One More Day asked, why aren't at the very least What If number 20 and 21 canon? If What If number 4 answered question and got folded into 616, then why not this? It simply comes down to Joe Quesada. He desperately wanted to separate Mary Jane and Peter Parker, and he created a no-win scenario to do it. Change the past, but keep the cake. And since Marvel operates on an everything happened continuity, this would just break Spider-Man's canon and fan base even more. Not brave enough to completely flip the table, and unable to because it's bolted down, so cut off one of the legs and pretend it's fine. If you want a Marvel No Prize, then maybe an extra second and a time-traveling devil bird causes 2 separate butterfly effects. The other? I can't answer because Peter should be dead. Maybe Mephisto's powerful enough to make the other not take Peter? I don't know. The moral of the story is, one more day and Oment are stupid and you shouldn't think about them. Bye! That's really fucking close. Oh no, it's Marvel! Kevin Feige is gonna shoot me!